change, I suggest you do the same.
He was one of the most electric receivers in the CFL before he tore his ACL last October with Ottawa. Tonight, Chris Williams makes his long-awaited debut with the BC Lions, coming up against the Saskatchewan Roughriders as we conclude Week 7 in the Canadian Football League with this all-West showdown. Welcome to the CFL on TSN. Rod Smith, along with Hall of Famers Milt Stegall and Matt Dunnigan. And if you like big receiver play, the timing of this matchup is perfect. Not only Williams is back, but what about Duron Carter, Matty, with Saskatchewan last week? A breakout game, 9 catches, 131, 2 touchdowns. Is that a blip, or is the light finally gone on for him?
Well, let's hope the light went on and stays on. As a professional athlete and receiver, you got to start stacking those phenomenal games back to back every week, Milt. I think this kid certainly got the talent. We always talk about it. Now we need that to come out consistently from week to week.
I think the light is come on. And like you say, can he keep it on? I don't think he'll have a performance like he did last week every single game, but this guy is capable of being the best receiver in this league. And I've been saying that for 2 years now, but now he has to put it together,
How
Matt.
long did you play, Milt?
I played 14 years.
14 years.
In the CFL,
And you
14
attained
years.
greatness every time you stepped on the football field consistently. That's why you're Hall of Famer. That's what this young man needs to learn to do week to week to week to week to week.
And he's capable of doing it.
Yeah, I think
we saw last week, and when he made that catch, I was surprised, but I wasn't surprised because I know what he's capable of. The thing now, can he be consistent and do it game in and game out?
Can you make that catch?
No.
Wow. No, I just assumed you'd say yes. Two solid receiving cores. Looking forward to this one coming up.
Week 7 wraps with a Western showdown in Vancouver. It's the first of back-to-back meetings between the 2 and 3 Riders and the 4 and 2 Lions, with the roof open at BC Place Stadium.
It was arguably the catch of the year so far when Duron Carter backhand stabbed the TD versus Toronto. But whether you think it was number 1 or not, it was Carter's best game as a Rider. Can he build on it tonight? Great receivers all over the field here tonight. The Lions core got better with the return of speedster Chris Williams, his first game back since the ACL injury in Week 16 last year.
Wally Bono's Lions had a 4-game win streak snapped in Edmonton last week. Lions have won 6 consecutive games against Saskatchewan. Chris Jones Riders looking for their first road win, their first win streak of the year, and their initial win against a divisional opponent this season. It's their first of 5 consecutive games against the West. I know we're just starting the second third of the season, but this is an important game for both these teams.
Big game. The Riders haven't beat BC in the last 2 years.
In fact, the last time the Riders beat the Lions, Kevin Glenn was the quarterback for BC. Whit Van Gilswick kicking it off, the Victoria native doing the kicking duties. And Jeremiah Johnson is back, and he shakes across the 30-yard line and finally bumped out around the 33 as Travis Lulay leads the BC Lions out 6-2 head-to-head against his old teammate Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, and 8-2 against the BC Lions. This starts 69 for Travis Lulay. Up to a 2-1 start since taking over for Jonathan Jennings, who's getting closer.
And his last home start against Saskatchewan back in 2015, he passed for over 400 yards, something he's done twice so far this season. Starting at the 36 with a play-action fake and throwing to the wide side to get him involved early. There's the newcomer, Chris Williams, with his first catch as a BC Lion.
It was Week 16 when Chris Williams blew out his ACL against the Saskatchewan Roughriders. They got him at the wide side of the field to start out, and you can see his speed right out of the gate, causing Javon Johnson, the veteran, to get out of his back pedal quickly on that comeback run.
14 for Williams, who, despite missing the last 4 games last year, had 77 catches, 1,246 yards. Now an early move on that defensive line. Looked like Zach Minter, former Lion, moved first.
Offside. Saskatchewan, number 96. A 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
It is Minter. And so it'll be 1st and 5. Is into Rider territory at the Saskatchewan 45-yard line.
Now Manny Arsenault has starting out here as the 3 receiver into the boundary. You don't see that very often on the short side of the field like that when the ball's on the hash to have 3 receivers crammed into that corner, but it can flood a zone look. Arsenault opens up.
Looked a little wobbly getting up. It stays in the game, and it's a first down. And this time it does go to Jeremiah Johnson. He bounces it outside. He's got a first down and steps out around the 29-yard line. Johnson second in the league in rushing.
Big cut here when he hits the line of scrimmage. Jeremiah Johnson, who has a touchdown in every game this season, takes that bounce to the outside. He gets the edge on Samuel Guavin.
Just 5 carries, 30 yards last week against Edmonton. He gets half that in his first carry here at a 15-yard gain. Right back to him. And a surge for 5 more for Johnson.
It's interesting that in the very first play of this game, Travis Lulay got Chris Williams involved. The very first throw on that comeback route to get this drive started and get the ball in his hands early. It's been a long time since he's played in game action at game speed. Practiced the last 2 weeks with the starting offense, and another weapon for Kahari Jones, the offensive coordinator, and they didn't have to take Nick Moore off. So they're all out there tonight.
Second, about 5.5. And the pass caught by Johnson over the backfield, but Casey Rogers was on the scene right away to limit the gain, and the field goal unit will have to come on. So Ty Long to come on to attempt a 32-yarder, 15 of 17 on the season. Lulay the holder. And Long puts it through. First points to the Lions off that 32-yard field goal. Kevin Glenn approaching the legendary Ron Lancaster, 109 yards away from becoming 6th all-time in CFL passing. 275th game today for Kevin Glenn, getting into rarefied air when you're approaching a legend like Ron Lancaster.
109 yards away unless the BC Lion defense plays their best game of the season. Kevin Glenn stays healthy tonight. He'll get there.
Enjoying the best 5-game start of his 17-year career. They start at the 35, and he got Damon Roosevelt diving for a catch at the 48, and this receiving core has helped Kevin Glenn off to that best start ever.
Weapons all over the field here tonight for both teams offensively, and Damon Roosevelt, the leading receiver for the Riders, makes what should have been a routine curl route interesting because Kevin Glenn let him into the middle a little bit and he had to make a tough catch.
5 for 51 and a touchdown on a tough catch last week against Toronto. 13 there and a first down. Went to throw again to the sideline, and that pass is caught. Ronnie Yell driving Caleb Hawley out of bounds after 6 more.
BC Lions have had to rework their secondary in a big way due to injuries. Yell will stay on the corner, but they put Luchez Purifoy at halfback beside him. Anthony Thompson gets his first start at safety. So we'll see with this real strong and fast receiving corps for Saskatchewan whether or not that new secondary gels together quickly.
Stephen Clark here, the field corner on second down to the wide side for Rob Bagg. Got the catch and a first down, and he is bumped out by Stephen Clark.
Rob Bagg here on the little speed out, and when you have sort of put together a secondary and had to build it due to injury, that's the first thing they'll do is back off, give receivers a little bit of space till they settle in. All these DBs are good for BC, good players, just haven't played together in these spots yet this year.
Bagg with just one catch last week. Duron Carter in motion, gets the hitch pass from Glenn, gets a block from Hawley, and Gator will bump him out at the 37-yard line.
Best game as a Rider, without question. Targeted 11 times against the Toronto Argonauts, and the breakout game for Duron Carter. 9 catches, 131 yards, and 2 touchdowns, and one of the most spectacular you'll see if you haven't seen it. If you haven't seen it, you're living under a rock somewhere.
He made a catch last week?
He did, yeah,
okay.
Apparently.
Look forward to seeing that. First 100-yard game for Carter in the last 10. Pressure on, and Glenn wisely throws it away. Craig Rowe was a millisecond away from registering a sack.
Well, just in case you haven't seen it, against Toronto.
Oh, that catch.
Backhand. Fighting off the defender, maintains his balance. Unbelievable. Now, Brian Burnham's also in this game tonight.
There's plenty of discussion here about who had the better catch.
Exactly.
2nd and 10. Here comes the heat. They got the Glenn this time. And it is Craig Rowe getting home. 5th sack of the year for Death Row.
There he is right there, and watch the stunt up front. Rowe steps up, 2-3 steps, and then goes right down the middle on a stunt with Mikhail Brooks.
First sack in 3 games for Rowe, and it knocks the Riders out of field goal range. They won't send Quinn Van Gilswyk out to try a 51-yarder, although he made a 54-yarder last year in his CFL debut. Bartell looks for the corner, and Rainey fields it at the 5. Tiptoes up 4 yards after the 39-yard punt. And the Lions are backed up, but a defensive stand led by defensive end Craig Rowe to prevent Rider points on their first possession. Another great day on the West Coast, roof open. Penalty on the punt return against Mikhail Brooks of the Lions, so BC backed up at their own 2-yard line. Receiver set, Lule from the end zone, the pressure on, he'll step up, take off, and get up to the 10. 8-yard pickup, 9 carries, 45 yards last week.
Well, you mentioned, Chris, how well Kevin Glenn's been playing. His best 5-game start of his career, 17-year career. Well, this yardage-wise has been Travis Lule's best 3-game span of his career. I mean, this is 2 veteran quarterbacks on top of their games. Nice run there on first down, give him some breathing room.
3rd game start for Lule. They moved it back a yard after the slide, so 2nd and 3. Quick hit. McMoore the catch and a first down to get them out of a deep hole.
And the guy can play when it comes to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who have been a rival of this team when the Riders were competing for first in the division. a few years back, and Travis Lulay was the starting quarterback here in BC. Look at that 8-2 record and that touchdown interception ratio off the hook grade at 19 TDs to 5 picks against the Riders in his career.
Coming off his season low, 319 net yards against Edmonton. Gonna air this one up. Gonna take a shot. Chris Williams got it. There's the deep threat.
Oh, yeah. He can pick him up and put him down. In his pro day, ran a 4.28. That's flat out flying. And gets him behind Javon Johnson.
49-yard connection. Didn't take long. First down into Rider territory. Lulay runs out of time, scrambles out of the pocket, and Sammy Guavin tosses him down.
I want to go back to that long ball to Chris Williams, because coming off an ACL, the first question you have is, how is he running? How smooth is that stride? Is it bothering him at all? Is there any little bit of a limp or anything? And it doesn't look like it is affecting his running motion at all. I thought if he got back to 90%, he could run by most of the guys in the league. He looks like he's back to 100%.
4 times a 1,000-yard receiver in the league. Second and long, draw play. Johnson, and he is surrounded at the 41-yard line and stopped there. And now, will it be the field goal unit to come on?
Didn't work, but I think it's a good call early in the game for Kahari Jones to go with the draw play on second and long, to plant that seed. The Saskatchewan defense that it's possible. Jeremiah Johnson, even in second and long situations, may be involved in the offense. And it's telling the D-line, make sure you check for him first before you get in that pass rush mode.
Long 7 of 9 from beyond 40. And he puts this one up and through from 47 yards out. So BC started at the 2, got a big play from Chris Williams, and gets a field goal to double the lead. Well, it wasn't just one catch for Duron Carter last week, targeted 11 times, 9 catches, 131 yards, a couple of touchdowns, and with more on Carter, here's Farhan Lalji.
Guys, we've seen receivers like Odell Beckham Jr. try these trick catch routines during their pregame warm-up. Duron Carter says he wants no part of that. He just wants to catch as many balls as possible and get a feel for it. And his coaches and Kevin Glenn also know you need to get him the ball early so he can get into that groove. Otherwise, he might check out. And it was certainly as expected in that game where he finally broke out. We saw him catch a number of passes early on. He said also the talking helps. He got into it on the sideline with S.J. Green, his former teammates, and as he was having success, he started telling Green exactly what route he was going to run and how he was going to catch the ball. And he said 4 times during that game it went exactly as he had planned. As for Paige Hansen, he said he developed a relationship with her, a friendship with her and her family during training camp. He knew exactly where their season tickets were. He promised her a touchdown ball, and he was thrilled he was able to deliver.
And Marshall shedding a tackle and running for a first down, coming off his first 100-yard game. Farhan mentioned Paige Hansen. This might have been Duron Carter's best play of the day.
Paige Hansen is a cancer survivor, was diagnosed when she was 18 months old, 12 years old, and as Farhan mentioned, has a relationship with some of the players, including Duron Carter, and got the ball from the great catch, and is now a spokesperson for Children's Wish Foundation in Saskatchewan. A great young kid, and that is a real nice gesture by Duron Carter. Maybe there's other layers that we don't see all the time from Duron Carter.
Morris hit as he took the handoff. Can you imagine the composure to make the catch of your life and immediately find somebody in the end zone stand?
Well, I think he's growing, and you know, like I said, there's obviously other layers here to Duron Carter. We see the guy that is in the debate all the time between the tremendous athlete and gifted receiver and the guy that can sometimes become a sideshow with the talking and the trash talking, all that kind of stuff. But there's more to it, and there's more layers, and I mean, that was a classy move by Duron Carter. Let's see if he can build on that game from last week.
Might be Carter time here. No, they go the underneath route to Bakari Grant. There is a flag down in the Rough Rider backfield. Grant had a valuable performance last week for the Rough Riders with 3 key second down catches and 115 yards. But this catch is going to be negated by penalty.
Illegal block, ends to the face. Saskatchewan number 63, 10-yard penalty. It remains second down.
Left tackle Derek Dennis. Who's been flagged more than a few times in the early going this season. So a big hole here in 2nd and 21. Stands in the pocket to the far side for Bagg and bumped out by Stephen Clark short of the first down. So the punt team will come on after the Bagg catch at midfield.
Kevin Glenn's going back out there. And they're leaving the offense on, Chris. Yeah.
Isn't this interesting?
Right on that.
How about that? It's 3rd and 5.
With little too long for a field goal attempt. Go ahead and go for it.
Now, play halted. How many players are out there?
Timeout. BC.
Oh, the Lions call timeout. Make sure they're prepared for whatever Saskatchewan had.
I think the Lions, first of all, only had 10 players on the field. Because they had put their kick return team out there and then tried to substitute back on defense.
I think Wally Buono's alerting the official that they're allowed to get the right personnel out, whether it's a punt or not. And now the punt team does come on. But it cost the Lions a timeout.
Not a bad strategy if that was the only reason for that, to leave Kevin Glenn out there.
Bartel the kick. Rainey and Iannuzzi are back, and this will be Iannuzzi, 19-yard line. Brought down at the 25, a 35-yard punt, and the tackle made by Denzel Radford. Lions have swept the Riders in the last 2 years of 3-game season series. This year, just back-to-back games in the next couple of weeks.
Look at the yards offense per game. 441 yards.
And that sack ratio plus 15. And we've seen a sack by the Lions in this first quarter. Travis Lulay 5 for 5 out of the gate for 88. And Nick Moore can't make that catch off his fingertip for the first incompletion.
It looked like the veteran just rushed that throw a little bit. Went through the play fake, rushed it a bit, and just missed Moore out of the backfield. And Antigua might have influenced that throw to try and throw it around his arm.
Forced Travis to go sidearm on the play, 2nd and 10. Moving around for the Riders. Open is Arsenault up at midfield, and man, he doesn't want to go down. Finally dropped. They'll rule him contained at the 52-yard line, and he gets up jawing, along with Mike Edom, a former teammate.
Lulay's going to have to pay the price here. He's going to get hit waiting for Arsenault to get to that middle. And with Arsenault working in tandem with Chris Williams on the outside, it's going to force the DBs like Ed Gainey there to turn and run with Williams.
Arsenault's been playing hurt. Quarterback option. Now for Burnham. Got it. Brian Burnham puts it down in front of Preston Butler.
Riders are just going to have to rely on the matchups. Whether it's Preston Butler taking Burnham, whether it's Javon Johnson out on Chris Williams, pretty tough if you're playing the BC Lions or the Riders for that matter with their receiving core to double any one of them.
27 to Arsenault, 27 to Burnham. 100 proof lethal on this drive, and now Lule scrambling, running, sliding, and down at the 12-yard line.
So this has been a debate all week in Saskatchewan. It's been a debate across the country. Which catch is better? Brian Burnham on your right, Deron Carter on your left. Where are you putting your vote, partner?
I'm planted firmly on the fence on this one. Both are just off the charts. Wow. First and 10. Underneath. Rainey couldn't pull it off his shoe tops. That's the final play of this opening quarter. Good one for the Lions, although they have to settle for a pair of field goals, and knocking at the door here. Big play to Chris Williams early. A hot hand for Travis Lule. And it's 6-0 BC after 15 minutes.
It is a beautiful night for football.
They're on fire! This is the way it's supposed to be.
The fans have been waiting a decade for this.
The Alouettes are rolling right now.
Did you see that?
Where would you rather be than watching some CFL football?
Lions already with so many weapons. Add Chris Williams, and it turns out to be a 149-yard passing quarter for Travis Lule.
Yeah, quite a pace there, and again, it's pick your poison, but I think you could say that about both these receiving cores. Deron Carter just had one catch. It was a quick out for 12 yards in that first quarter, and it was when Kevin Glenn against Toronto trusted him with those 50-50 shots, taking a shot down the field with Deron Carter. Don't be surprised at all to see that in the second quarter.
I think everybody here has been waiting to see what impact Chris Williams can have on this offense, and some early returns are pretty promising.
Well, it opens things up. Even if you're not throwing the ball to Chris Williams with his great speed, it opens up space for his teammates. Great start. First throw of the game went to number 80.
How about that for the Lions? 10 for their last 10 in the red zone. 20 of 25 on the year. Looking at 2nd and 10 here. Lule time, flag down, touchdown, Brian Burnham. Let's find out if it stands. Looks like there may have been a hold. Well, we'll find out. No, they're going to celebrate. I think it's
Preston Butler ran into the goalpost and is complaining to the officials that Burnham used the post as a pick.
Offside. Saskatchewan, number 99. Penalties decline. Result of the play is a touchdown.
So A.C. Leonard was offside, and Brian Burnham has his 2nd touchdown of the year. And now the Lions are 11 for their last 11 in the red zone.
Yeah, best team in the league in the red zone. Just incredible their percentage down here. And take a look. Must have lined up offside. Didn't see early movement.
4 for 7 on the 2-point tries, and look at that. Travis Lule gets it done himself.
Jeremiah Johnson and Chris Rainey he's in there in the red zone on the 2-point conference scenario. Draws so much attention. That opened up that play fake and out around the edge. Brian Burnham with the touchdown. And Preston Butler, who it looked like was in coverage on 16, ran into the goalpost.
Well, it wasn't the catch that will rival Deron Carter, but Brian Burnham of the Lions felt like he has the catch of the year, and he has the first touchdown catch of the game.
Well, take a look at this, Chris. I mean, I'll show you where Brian Burnham lines up. Right there, and Preston Butler is going to cover him, and watch what happens to Butler. Burnham straight down the middle, Butler's turning with him, and then bam, right into the goalpost. Down he goes. That's why Burnham was so wide open. He got up, turned around, looked right at the post, and then tried to get the official. Said, is that legal to be able to run that close to the post? But there's no penalty there.
6 plays, 85 yards, the Burnham touchdown, and a 14-0 BC lead. Riders fell behind 10-0 early in each of the last 2 starts and were determined to avoid that fate here. Return up beyond the 35-yard line.
Great to see
Jones, the new coach.
Great to see Travis Lulay, Chris, back into that form, that MOP type form, and he loves to play here at home in BC Place. A 20-4 record with a 42-22 touchdown interception ratio in 6 300-yard games when he plays under the tent here in BC Place.
I get the impression he is more confident right now running the football than maybe even 3 weeks ago. Already has carried 4 times in this game for 22 yards in the 2-point convert. So Kevin Glenn's got some work to do to get Saskatchewan back in it. He'll go to Caleb Hawley. Got a block for Rob Bagg. And now made Solomon Elamimian fall down with a nifty shift and 11 yards.
That doesn't happen very often. That's the leading tackler in the CFL, and Caleb Hawley makes him miss in a big way. I mean, he just shakes him here. He gets a block, first of all, to the outside on Stephen Clark. Teammate will come in from left your screen, Rob Bagg. Now watch this move, a little shake and bake, and down goes Solomon Elamimian.
Solomon may have to re-spat after that. Wow. That's some shift by Caleb Hawley. First down, Saskatchewan. Now it's Duron Carter a catch. First man misses. Carter across midfield and bumped out around the 50, just inside the Lion 50-yard line.
Well, this is start 197 for Kevin Glenn, and understands the sense of urgency. When you drop down by 14 on the road, now that next series is so important, and he looks sharp on the series, and the receivers for him, his weapons, are picking up extra yards after the catch with some nice running.
So Glenn now 7 of 8 for 77 yards. First down, Saskatchewan, BC 50, and it's Duron Carter, the fly sweep, and Carter drilled down at the 45-yard line. Stephen Clark on the corner makes the tackle after 5.
The plan for BC was to get Stephen Clark at safety at some point, and that has changed a couple of times. Just coming off the 6th game, it steps up and makes a tackle to try and limit this game.
So 2nd and 5. Riders, 4 receivers to the wide side. Kevin Glenn looking across the middle, and another terrific catch. Caleb Hawley climbs the ladder. Took a jolt at the end of the play and a little slow to get up after a terrific catch.
Well, if you're a fan of the game of football, you're loving the athleticism from these receivers across the board. It doesn't matter what team we're talking about. Caleb Hawley goes up, and look at this presence of mind. He's looking where the hit comes from. He checks down, he sees Anthony Gator, he's going to absorb that one. He's got Solomon Elamimian coming from the backside. Another great catch.
Sandwiched by Gator and Elamimian, and Hawley getting it. Well, now another Rough Rider getting attention. Hawley bounced up after being shaken up initially. It's Dan Clark, the center, so we'll step aside while he gets some attention. Join us at the half for the GMC Professional Grade Playbook. Tonight, Henry Burris on the value. Dwayne Ford's writing his material. The value of an outstanding fullback. What about safety? You need some equal time here.
No, that's okay, because they are valuable. 2 good ones in this game tonight. Spencer Moore and Wally Lombala.
Got a shift on here after Dan Clark goes out. Brendan Labatt to center. Peter Diagowski moves into Labatt's spot, and Darius Platic, the rookie, goes to right guard. Here is Glenn, and intercepted. Lucas, no, it's Anthony Thompson. Number 8, the safety, who comes away with the football.
Well, this was a question mark. Anthony Thompson's getting his first start at safety. He's right in the middle of your screen at the top. Just plays Kevin Glenn. He sees Carter coming through his zone and jumps it. Nice catch laying out for that one.
See the importance of
the safety.
Play.
I hear you, partner. I mean, that's a great play by Anthony Thompson. Played the wide side corner all season long.
From now on, that's how you catch.
Snuffs the drive. And BC takes over at their own 13. Wide side for Nick Moore. Lost his shoe, came right out of his shoe. And has 7 to the 20.
Devon Johnson closes quickly from that corner spot. Been trying to handle in that first quarter Chris Williams. And that was the right move by Johnson to make sure that Nick Moore broke inside to where the pursuit was coming from. Gets his tire back on.
By the way, I believe I called him Travis once last week. Travis Moore from a different vintage.
Yes.
No relation.
Yes.
Now Arsenault in his hands. That's a first down catch in front of Ed Gady.
First 2 games out of the gate in relief of John Jennings. Travis Lulay over 400 in both of them. 175 yards already tonight.
Jonathan Jennings starting to throw in practice. And the closer he gets, the better the debate's going to be about who should be starting. There's Lulay pulling it down again. And got a hit as he went feet first. Mwamba doesn't like the call.
Well, it's coming upon the quarterback when he hook slides like this to get down early enough so the defender can see it. This one is pretty close. Mwamba's just to the left of your screen. See how Travis Lulay directs traffic in front
Major
of him with
foul.
Jeremiah Johnson.
Roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 10.
The helmet
15-yard penalties enforced from the end of
whether
the
or not
run.
it was a
First down.
Timing was real close, but when Mwamba ducks his head like that and leads with the crown of his helmet, that's going to draw a flag every time.
Yeah, whether it was a slide or not, the penalty moves it up to the 49. So it becomes a 23-yard play. And BC, who started deep in their own territory a couple of times, has worked their way out. A mistake here. Johnson went one way, Lulay the other, and it's incomplete. Intended for Arsenault.
You get a player like Chris Williams returning to the lineup, it just takes everything up a notch because the rest of the receivers, they start to compete. They start to compete in practice. And they get a chance with the ball thrown in their direction and targeted. They're going after it. I mean, that one, Manny Arsenault, I thought he might go up to about row 10 to try and make that catch.
Well, the Lions talking about how the presence of Chris Williams will tilt coverage, put stress on a defense, and one more big element to worry about. 2nd and 10. 4 for 6 on second down conversions. Anybody home? Lulay rolls underneath. Catch made. And Williams scrambles for a first down. Not always a deep threat, but always a threat. $12 more and an injured Rough Rider as Mac Henry will check in and Zach Minter gets attention.
Lulay knew he had time there. He had 4-man pressure in front of him. Gets on the move, throws it back against the grain. Four seasons in the CFL for Chris Williams, 4,000-yard seasons.
3 catches, 75 already. been his first half as a Lion, will step aside as Minter is worked on.
Best 1-5-1 team I think I've seen in a long time. Those Ottawa Red Blacks.
Got to find a way, though, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Edmonton knows how to find a way. So Minter out. McHenry is checked back in. 1st and 10. And a handoff to Johnson. Down to the 44.
Just 5 carries for Jeremiah Johnson in the loss to the Edmonton Eskimos last week for BC. I'm sure he'll get a lot more touches in this one tonight before it's over.
Well, he's got a consecutive touchdown streak on the line. And in one season, Milt Stegall. You remember him?
He won't let you forget him.
Quick contact on Johnson. That time separating him from the football.
I'm just kidding, Milt.
The other men ahead of Johnson did it over 2 seasons. Sean Millington, who has the Lions record at 9.
Chris, that was a monster stop by this Saskatchewan defense. This turns into 21-0, and it starts to slip away on them. They needed to get Travis Lulay off the field and got it done with lots of time left in this first half to get some points on the board.
So Carter back, Ty Long drills it, and this one's going to go through the back for a single point. And it's a 15-0 BC lead. Well, you've heard a lot about the catch, but there's a key element of the Duron Carter catch that you might have overlooked.
I think it was a very, very acrobatic catch. I think the one thing that everybody's leaving out is the type of ball that had to be thrown in order for him to be able to catch the ball like that. You know, you can't throw just a normal pass. You know, you have to give some credit to the trajectory of the ball and how high it was for him to get his hand underneath the ball.
That's beautiful. It was all about the trajectory.
The clip of the year.
And off inside, Cameron Marshall not going anywhere. Chandler Fenner has been on fire of late for the Lions. Last 3 games, 24 tackles. That's the most in a 3-game span of anybody in the league. So a passing down here, and Kevin Glenn 16 yards away from overtaking Ron Lancaster on the all-time list. The interception on the last series extends the Lions streak. They have a pick in 6 straight. Glenn to throw out into the flat. It is Marshall, and he'll be close to a first down. Looks like they're going to mark him a 2 yard short, an 8-yard pickup, and Chris Jones wants to get a good look at that spot to see if he's in a gambling mood. And the punt team comes on.
Yeah, that's too long to gamble at this point. Field position important.
First 2 and out of the night. Just a pair of 2 and outs for Saskatchewan last week against Toronto. Chris Rainey backpedals inside his 20, 47-yard punt, and Rainey back across the 30-yard line, a 13-yard return. Jonathan Jennings throwing in practice, and Farhad Lalji will have an update on his condition when we come back. Jonathan Jennings had won 4 straight starts against Saskatchewan, watching as Lulay starts today with an update on his condition. Here's Farhan.
Chris, the question is, will Jonathan Jennings be watching next week? He hopes he's ready to start, and Wally Buono believes he is ready, and that comes in large part because of some throws he did during the team period this week. This one back on Thursday, a 45-yard corner out to Manny Arsenault, perfectly thrown, and it wasn't a high trajectory floater, it was a dart. And what impressed Buono the most was the fact that he didn't have to heave it or really drive his legs into it. It was an effortless throw. So now it comes down to, could he re-injure it by playing too early? I spoke to Lions medical staff. They said that's not likely in this situation. It's all about function. If he can function and make all the throws and have all the range, which it looks like he does, he's ready to go. So now the debate will begin next week.
Oh yeah, and what a nice problem to have for the BC Lions. A direct snap there to Jeremiah Johnson.
Well, you know, and I look at Travis Lulay, and I can, you know, tell you that working with Lulay and talking to him throughout the years, I have so much respect for Travis Lulay, but I'm with Matt Dunnigan on this, the former quarterback on our panel, that you go back to your starter. You go back to John Jennings. He's the starting quarterback for the Lions, and Travis Lulay, as well as he's played, has played his role the way he should have. But you can't have your quarterback playing feeling like if he got hurt, he may lose his job.
Even though that's how Lulay lost the starter's job.
Over time, though, through that shoulder injury.
There's Lulay looking downfield. Johnson's got it. A Guavin in the chase position, and Jeremiah Johnson shows his two-way value. 38 yards.
So many weapons, so many matchups that Travis Lulay can look to. And this time it's Jeremiah Johnson who lines up basically in the slot position. And he's going to get a Guavin in that chase position. Guavin didn't get his hands on him in that 5-yard zone, and that's an issue when you're that close to the line of scrimmage as a defender, even for defensive backs, let alone linebackers.
So at 225 yards, Travis Lulay's making this difficult.
This decision?
Yes.
Oh, without question. I mean, and like you said, it's 1 and 1A. It's not a backup and a starter. It's 2 starters. Lulay's played outstanding. But, you know, I think you go back to Jonathan Jennings, your starter. You're in the job at a training camp, and because he was hurt, he's now healthy. He goes back in and starts. Could they go to a 2-quarterback system? Possibly. Different scenarios, different games.
Second down after the carry by Rainey. More ducks under the hit from Chris Lyles, and it's another BC first down.
Just to wrap it up, I mean, Rider fans watching this game will remember quarterback tandem, Kent Austin and Tom Burgess, that worked very well in the late 80s.
Huffnagel and Barnes.
Huffnagel and Barnes. It hasn't seen, don't see it very often anymore, but it can work.
Lulay to the end zone, and too high on time for Brian Burnham. But there are a lot of them. I just think he's complicated this by playing like the MOP that he was.
Question. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And it'll be a great debate and gauge the fan base.
But Wally Buono has given every indication that, as you mentioned, it's Jennings' job when he's ready to retake it.
27 starts for Jennings. 117 of them. You know, there's 4 teams that Jonathan Jennings hasn't lost to in his young career. Saskatchewan, one of them.
Procedure. BC, number 69, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Charles Vaillancourt, who gets the start in this game for David Foucault, who was struggling in his first CFL season at left guard. Vaillancourt with 5 starts last year. And so far, this line that was under siege last week has given Travis Lulay a lot of time. But 2nd and 15. And this time, they get to the quarterback. And Willie Jefferson on cue with his 4th sack of the year.
Well, I just talked to our producer, John Hines, and said, I want to get a shot of Willie Jefferson if I can, because He's the guy that if they need to get some pressure, they lean on. 12 quarterback pressures, that's his 4th sack.
And Travis Lulay remains down after the hit.
3 minutes till halftime. Travis Lulay getting up. We're going to talk about this in studio at the half, and the Chris Williams effect as well. Definitely paying off so far in this game for the BC Lions. Good to see Lulay heading off now as we go back to Chris Cuthbert and Glenn Suter.
Is it ever? Boy, he was down almost through the entire break. Helmet to the ribs.
Yeah, that's scary. Jefferson, he gets sandwiched there and the helmet right to the ribs. Now he's got that flak jacket around that area. Clearly that saved him because he was down for a while. Probably wind knocked out of him as well. Good to see him get up, and Jefferson went right over to shake his hand, make sure he's okay.
Alex Ross is the holder here as Ty Long puts it through. Backup holder gets the job done, and Ty Long nails it to increase the Lion lead.
We're close to half, so they'll check out Lulay, but one more time on the hit, a different angle, and Jefferson through that break was concerned as well, and no one wants to see a player go down, walked over, and that's a classy move to just go over and say, hey, you're okay, good stuff. And then Lulay with the thumbs up to the crowd.
Well, after what he's been through in the last few years, you hold your breath. So Kevin Glenn, 16 yards away from Ron Lancaster. And a pass here, well, he was 8 yards away and he might have got it there. Could be very close. And it looks like he's got enough to tie Ron Lancaster. We'll wait for one more completion to move him up the legendary ladder of top Canadian Football League quarterbacks in passing yards.
Huge milestone, but maybe
right
more
now,
importantly, points are more important.
Absolutely. Second and 3. And a pass intercepted and went off Hawley's fingertips. There is a flag on the play. And let's find out if this is the second interception of the first half. Chandler Fenner off the tip. Kevin Glenn signaling for his offense to just reorganize here. Looks like it's going against BC, and it is.
Yeah, it looks like it was in the secondary, either illegal contact or right where the ball was thrown. Early contact on PI. We'll see.
Pass interference. BC, number 33, 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
Should be 23, Anthony Gator.
I thought the timing when I watched it live was pretty good on this slant. Ball hits his hands and he grabs at the arm. I saw it differently.
To Marshall across midfield, and Cameron Marshall to the Lion 50 has 8 in what is a very important drive for the Roughriders here in the final 2 minutes of this first half.
I'm surprised we haven't seen more Cameron Marshall. The best game of the season was against Toronto. That's his 5th touch of the football in his first half. He had 18 carries in the win versus the Argos a week ago. I thought it was key to their success was that balance for Stephen McAdoo.
Most carries by a Rough Rider feature back since Jerome Messam in early July 2015. Gets it again here. And got something going here between Thaddeus Coleman and Josh Shirley away from the football. And is that enough for a first down for Marshall as they survey? And it's going to be third down. So third and less than a yard. Riders 6 for 6 on third downs, and Kevin Glenn didn't need much, and a decent surge here. Elimimian on top of the quarterback at the end of it. I think things are heating up down there.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Two Western rivals banging heads down there, and they're starting to get a little bit more after the fact. Now we got a BC Lion down as well.
Mikhail Brooks, a key member of that front four, the big defensive tackle. Something happened at the bottom of that pile.
He got rooted in there.
I was going to say
right
a
underneath.
lot of things happen at the bottom of that pile.
Yes, they do. Just take a look at the collisions that are going on down there.
And Brooks first surging there.
Yeah, underneath. That fullback Spencer Moore keeps driving there, and that's, I think, was the issue for Josh Shirley. He got up, didn't like that. But that's just playing to the echo of the whistle, as they say.
Wally Buono just got Bryant Turner back after the veteran defensive tackle missed the last two, and now Brooks makes his way to the sidelines. Max Ford will come in. But he's the guy that takes the double team on almost every play. One of the most important Lions on defense. The Roughriders have fresh set of downs, 92 seconds remaining. Here in the opening half. The rush, playing the throw, incomplete.
Hey, Ronnie, he don't want to see you, Ronnie.
Deron Carter can't make the catch at the first down stick.
Blitz was picked up nicely. Solomon Elimimian came on the linebacker blitz, and it was blocked up. Kevin Glenn just missed Carter on the sideline. Right in front of the BC Lion bench, and don't think for a second there wasn't some talking going on as he went back to the huddle.
Second and 10. Here they come. And Glenn can't get away. Dropped back at midfield. Tony Burnett led the charge.
I also think that Josh Shirley was in there as well. Good push by Max Ford. Shirley over the top. Got mad when Spencer Moore gave that extra shove.
Shirley in for the injured DeQuinn Evans. And once again, the Roughriders come away empty. Lions get back on side. Bartell sails it. Rainey back at the 8. Does some dancing and is brought down just beyond the 11-yard line. Well, from mic'd up players to behind the scenes action, it's CFL Wired. And that comes your way Tuesday, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific on TSN 3 and 5. Great to see Travis Lule.
Yeah.
Back on the field.
Absolutely.
The Lions be happy to kill the clock here in the final minute of this first half and take an 18-point lead to the locker room. Handed off to Jeremiah Johnson.
Yeah, I think in halftime defensively, Saskatchewan, you know, they can't really roll coverage to one of these receivers, so they're going to have to rely on each other to just play their zones, play their areas. But offensively, you need to push the ball deep a little bit. Take some shots down the field to Deron Carter, Naaman Roosevelt. Both have had quiet first halves.
But a Lions team that lost the battle in the trenches last week to Edmonton has stepped their game up here on both sides of the football today. 2nd and 6 after the 4-yard Johnson run. And Lule, is he going to run? wisely gets down. He'll be short of the first down. But after that hit by Jefferson on the last series, I don't think he's going to be as adventurous as he looked earlier on in the game.
Yeah, and nor should he. Nor should he. That's a smart move, and strongly recommend that all the quarterbacks in the league do that with defenders coming downhill at them.
First 2 and out for the Lions. Well, the offense being left on the field to count it down. So Lule just has to take the snap and burn a second off the clock. 230 yards passing for Travis Lule in the first half. A touchdown pass to Brian Burnham. He went 13 of 18, and it's 18-0 BC at the half. As we head back to the studio, let's join Rod Smith and the guys.
Thank you, Chris. And the guys are Milt Stegall and Matt Dunnigan. And we had talked before this game about the Chris Williams effect. Yes. Not only what he does on the field himself, but to the rest of the offensive receiving corps. Let's begin, Matty, with Williams himself. Didn't take long for him to get involved in this game.
No, it didn't. Like we've been talking, you can't really teach speed. That's what he brings to the table. That's what everybody's so excited about and how it opens up everybody. He's going up against Javon Johnson, field side corner, who's an 11-year vet, and he understands about speed. In fact, he's on his horse already. He's flipped his hips, and he's going on a foot race right now. But no, Williams got other ideas. He's running it out, and he center field turns the corner on the first route of the game, and then the ball spotted beautifully, nice. And Williams is showing his speed and how it affects people. Now, another play. Javon Johnson giving him 11-yard cushion, basically, and this is a flat-out sprint. Right here, usually the rule of thumb is if you're even, you're leaving. He's 4 yards from him, and he's gone. That cushion's gone, and the ball's thrown, spotted out there, underthrown. And here, I said, you know what? Let's give this 40 time on this. He's not running here, Milt. He's not even running. Now he's on his horse, and he's bending out. He runs a 4.63. He basically ran about 44 yards, and he wasn't even running at the beginning. To me, this is what speed does, and that's against a veteran corner, and it affects everybody defensively.
I think I can beat him, man. in a marathon.
You can't do the Carter catch, but you could beat him in a marathon.
I thought you put your hamstring like 2 weeks ago.
That was 2 weeks ago, man. I healed up. I'm like a Wolverine.
Like a Wolverine.
Well, you talk about the Chris Williams effect, and coming into this game, I was kind of thinking, well, is this going to take away from the other players? Well, it's been just the opposite. The other players are now benefiting from the fact that Chris Williams is getting so much attention. You think about Manny Arsenault. He's either going to be wide open or one guy on him. And when one guy is trying to cover Manny Arsenault, even when he's injured, that's not going to happen. And Brian Burnham, we know he can go up and make those 50-50 catches. You think about Jeremiah Johnson. You think about Nick Moore. All these guys are benefiting. Manny has 48 yards receiving. Burnham, 48 yards. Johnson, 48 yards. Nick Moore, 21 yards. And he missed Randy one time who would have had a touchdown. So everyone is benefiting.
Underneath in the first quarter.
Could you imagine what Kahari Jones is thinking with all these weapons? It's something. It's special.
Up at nights, just devising schemes on how to use these players, and it's a good problem to have. You only got one football, and you got a group, a plethora of receivers that throw the ball.
It helps when those guys are unselfish. I talk to Manny every now and then when he was struggling. His thing was, as long as they're winning, he doesn't care if he's getting the ball or not.
By the way, it helps wearing a flak jacket too, doesn't it?
Oh my goodness,
Travis Lule. It was good to see.
I'm so glad he did.
Takes Willie Jefferson's helmet to the ribs, but he is fine and playing again. We're going to talk Roughriders coming up. They're down by 18 at the half. The CFL on TSN.
Week 7 wraps with a Western showdown in Vancouver between the 2 and 3 Riders and the 4 and 2 Lions at BC Place Stadium. Lule time, climb down, touchdown, Brian Burnham. Here is Glenn and intercepted. It's Anthony Thompson, the safety, who comes away with the football.
CFL Grade and Grey Cup champion Henry Burris with the GMC Professional Grade Playbook.
The offensive linemen are truly the guys who get no love, but they usually are mentioned before the fullback position. These guys block 90% of the time when they are in the game. When involved in pass plays, however, they typically block or are used as decoys to help open up wide receivers.
Slick catch there by the old guy, Calvin McCarty, the fullback.
However, when the ball enters their hand, it's like two worlds colliding. I mean, we're talking the extension of the offensive lineman, plus a special teams player, and a member of the receiving corps. I challenge you to watch the reaction of teammates the next time a fullback makes a catch. They motivate everyone on the team. For somebody who works their tails off time and time again, for their teammates to see them receive some love, it's all about that hard work, because in the end, doing things to excite your team is what changes games. So for any coordinator, find a way to get your fullback the ball. It might just help you win the big one. I'll see you at the start of Week 8 when Edmonton travels to Ottawa. We will be talking about attacking different zone defenses.
It is halftime at BC Place in Vancouver, but next week, Week 8 will start in Ottawa. The Red Blacks won 5-1 after that heartbreaker against Winnipeg in the last play of the game against the 6-0 Edmonton Eskimos who beat Hamilton to extend their winning streak. Well, yes, an 18-0 lead by the BC Lions over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Talking about getting the ball in the hands of Duron Carter, they did that so well last week against the Argos. So far, just 2 catches, and he has a carry as well, but are you surprised they haven't got him the football more?
Well, it's easier said than done, and they're trying to feed him the ball. They're moving him around. You see they're getting him to it different ways. That was a receiver screen. He had the one rush. He had the one catch down the field. They have to continue moving around. We know these BC Lions, after watching that game last week, they were going to hone in on it, but they have to get this man the ball. We know he can make plays if he's double, triple team. Get the ball in his hands. He's also returning punts, so he's going to get some opportunities that way, Matt. But if they want to get back in this game, they got to feed him some more.
Yeah, well, I think the big problem is the BC Lions have had the ball. Yes. You know, for almost 20 minutes of this ball game, 2/3 of the game thus far, just under 20 minutes in the first half there. And so that's a problem when you don't have the ball and you're trying to feed it and find some balance and a rhythm offensively when the other team's putting up points, and they've really squandered some scoring opportunities. The BC Lions, this game could be out of hand even more. But fact is, you'd like to see Duron Carter getting the football milk, but they don't have the ball.
They don't have the ball to get it.
Good point. 4 possessions, 3 punts, and a pick. Kevin Glenn threw, but that's been part of the problem. They had an 8-play drive at the end, but got pushed out with the sack of field goal range. And,
seems like BC's just playing faster in the first 30 minutes. And, you know, we've seen Saskatchewan come on. Hopefully that'll happen in the third.
That's absolutely where it stands right now. 18-0. We're going to hear from Travis Lulay coming up, along with Farhan Lalji, Kevin Glenn, and the Riders down, looking to get it going against a team that seems rejuvenated with Chris Williams there now as well. We'll be back. Lions by 18. How about those halftime stats, Milt?
Well, first of all, congratulations to Kevin Glenn. He tied Ronnie Lancaster for 6 all-time in passing, but he still only had 108 yards passing that first half. He has to find a way to put some drives together and keep his team on the field. Travis Lulay, 230 yards passing in that first half. He took a big hit, got back up, and kept going. Good first half so far for Lulay and the BC Lions.
And here is Lulay now with Farhan Lalji.
Travis, let's start with the hit. Take us through it, and how are you feeling?
Just tried to step up in the pocket and swim move inside. Helmet met my rib cage. Knocked the wind out of me. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't catch my breath for about 60 seconds or so.
Okay now?
It came back to me.
Other than that, 230 yards passing in the first half. It looks a lot like it did in your first 2 games. What's working for you?
We've done a good job. Kahari's done a good job of creating a few matchups. Our guys have made some nice one-on-one plays. We've been able to be balanced on first down. We talked about it all week. A lot of football game left. Need to do more of that.
Thanks, Travis.
Thank you.
Good to see. Travis Lulay is fine. BC Lions leading the way. 18-0 over the Saskatchewan Roughriders. The second half is coming up on the CFL on TSN.
Thank you, Rod. Back in beautiful BC, 18-0 as we get set for the third quarter of this big Western showdown. First, Farhan Lalji with Chris Jones.
Chris, what do you do to produce some more offense in the second half?
Well, we've got to quit shooting ourselves in the foot. You know, we've done some things. We moved the football. We got down there, we turned the ball over in the red zone, and we got hands to face stop the drive. So we've got to do enough things to finish some drives.
But on the other side defensively, I know that you got some pressure at the end, but until then, Travis was pretty comfortable.
Well, until we, again, we've got to move him around in the pocket. We got to get him on the ground. We got to run our games. We're not running them very effectively. We're failing to contain him. And we just got to quit giving up explosions. We gave up 2 or 3 explosions, which result in points.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thanks.
Like to get some explosion plays. Kevin Glenn dead even with the legend Ron Lancaster. 50,535 for each. When you're comparing different generations, it's like currency. There's probably should be an exchange rate because 50,000 back when Ron Lancaster played, probably different than today. But for Kevin Glenn, an appreciation of how special the mark is as he is about to pass the greatest quarterback in Saskatchewan Roughrider history.
Well, and we've been playing this game professionally in our country for over 100 years, and that list we showed you are the only players in that category over 50,000.
The great Peter Mansbridge was asked this week if he was ever intimidated by an interview subject, and he said the first time he met Ron Lancaster, he was intimidated. I think it really does illustrate the magnitude of the man, Ron Lancaster. Although once you got to know him, it wasn't intimidating in the least. As down to earth as they come. Well, we get set now for the second half. There's Christian Jones with the return, and Kevin Glenn more concerned about the stats today than the career stats with Ron Lancaster.
Yeah, his first throw and catch will get him past Ron Lancaster, but he's, again, we mentioned just before the end of the half that I think Kevin Glenn can help himself and open up some space if he pushes the ball deep a little bit. 0 attempts at over 20-yard passes in that first half. Didn't try one. Travis Lule was 5 for 7 on throws past 20 yards.
Had 4 for 10 last week against Toronto. Looking to dump it off, and Cameron Marshall's got a first down, and Ron Lancaster has been passed. Number 5 is now number 6 all time.
I hope they mark that football for Kevin Glenn, and most possibly even the Hall of Fame. And there's the answer to the trivia question. Who caught it to move past Ron Lancaster? Cameron Marshall out of the backfield.
Again, he's worried about the drive, but somebody should grab that football before they throw it in the stands and have to make a deal. Up at the 48-yard line, they'll give it to Marshall again. Crashes to the 51. Has 3. Well, if you were born or raised in Saskatchewan, any of these pictures will give you chills.
But I couldn't agree more, Chris. When you got to know Ron Lancaster and you sat and talked football with him, boy, it just felt like the guy next door and would talk football for hours.
And he'd be the first guy to say, well done, Kevin Glenn. Ronnie did it in 19 years. Kevin Glenn in his 17th year. Of course, Ron Lancaster only an Ottawa Roughrider and a Saskatchewan Roughrider. Kevin has only not played with the Edmonton Eskimos. Chandler Fendler with the tackle on Spencer Moore, who grabbed his ankle. Looks like he's been shaken up a bit, but he's going to stay in. And it's third down, and the punt team has to come on. They were down 17-0 at the half in Calgary and shut out again in the first half of this game against another respected, high-powered Western opponent. Bartell spins that one into the hands of Rainey at the 10, a 46-yard punt. Rainey contained, a flag goes down. Well, we wondered if Travis Lule would be able to finish what he started after being shaken up late in the first half, but ready to go second half after 230 yards passing in the first. A lot of green in the stands here today, waiting for something to happen for their side. Travis Lule has stolen the show. 4 possessions in the first, 5 possessions in the first half for BC, 4 with scoring points. And they hand it off straight off the gut. Jeremiah Johnson to the 25. And this is the 3rd time they've dug themselves out of a hole to start a drive.
Well, this is the explosions that Chris Jones talked to Farhan about at halftime. It's going to go right through the middle, as you mentioned, Chris, in a big block. And Vaillancourt to spring Jeremiah Johnson, and that's another explosion play. Big play. Over 20 yards.
Well, that carry, 54 yards in the game, and he goes over 2,000 career rushing yards. Lule rolling, pumps with Jefferson in the vicinity, incomplete. Chris Williams on the sidelines, the intended target.
Well, Lule's passing yards in the first half, 161 yards of them came off those explosion throws. 49 yards, a 26-yarder, 35, 43, and 38. Chris Williams got involved early in that first quarter with the deep ball.
Seven for 12 in the first half on second down conversions. Second and 10. Up one way, goes to Burnham with blocking. Preston Butler tries to trip him up. Butler finally dropped on a tackle by Chris Lyles, but it's a first down BC.
Fake screen one direction, go back to the backside with Ryan Burnham, and he makes a couple of guys miss. Nice play right there on Butler to break that tackle, keep his balance, and pick up the first down. Butler gets him down there, and the BC Lions are punting the football.
That catch number 150 in Brian Burnham's CFL career. Handoff back inside for Johnson. Up to the 42, close to 5 more. Said he'd have 1,000 yards rushing by game 11. Not sure he's on pace to do that, but certainly on pace for a 1,000-yard season. 59 so far this evening.
Well, he's got to take Kahari Jones out for dinner.
Yeah.
Buy a mistake or something, because over the last 3 games his touches have dropped. He had 35 running plays in the first 3, 23 in the last 3.
8 rushes, 3 receptions so far tonight. Look at Willie Jefferson, anxious to connect with Travis Lule once again, but too anxious that time.
Well, the Riders, I should say, started getting pressure on Ricky Ray last week against Toronto. They started to move those D linemen, get them active on the line of scrimmage before the snap. It looked like
offside. Saskatchewan, number 7, 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's exactly what they tried to do here with Willie Jefferson. Bounce him around, move him around, and see if you can cause that offensive line to make a mistake and miss somebody.
Eric Dargan comes to the sidelines. Preston Butler back in. This could be free play time, but they hand it off, and Rainey gets the first down on 2nd and inches. By the way, Zach Minter done for the day for Saskatchewan. We're told that Dan Clark likely to return.
That was a great decision by Chris Rainey. Chris Rainey is one of those guys that wants to bounce it, wants to get wide, wants to score on every play. And for Rainey to understand the situation, lower his pad level, and just go get a couple of yards for the first down, that's a heads-up play. Smart decision.
Here comes the heat. Willie Jefferson. Johnson can't make the catch. There's a pressure by Jefferson, who was tied for the lead in that department and has the most defensive points of any defensive lineman.
Well, yes, he does. And Willie Jefferson is in that stand-up spot. And this time they're static, 4-man defensive line. They get some help from Mwamba, but you can see Jefferson's got that long reach, gets around the edge. 39 defensive plays coming in. That leads his team.
So it's 2nd and 10. 4-man rush. Lule time. Arsenault the catch. Arsenault the first down. And the Guavin with some help from Casey Rogers to bring down the big target. 19 more for Manny Arsenault.
This is Travis Lule able to step in. Watch the block here by Hunter Stewart on Willie Jefferson. Jefferson, with his long reach, has knocked this pass down many, many times. Stepping into that, he gets into the lane just a little late because Hunter Stewart gets those hands down with a good shot to the shoulder plates and then allows Lule to step into that throw.
Interesting to hear Wally Buono assessing Hunter Stewart. Likes his game. Thinks he should be playing with even more confidence. That's how good he thinks Hunter Stewart is at left tackle. Number 6 pick in 2013. And as good as he's been, they think he can be even better when he believes how good he can be.
And right now he's working with Vinecourt, so you got to believe that Hunter Stewart is helping the youngster out beside him. Cody Husband has been maybe the most consistent at center, so starting to come together and play better. They came into this week ranked 8th in sacks allowed, but playing a lot better of late.
9th play of the drive here as the Lions have stayed on the field with extended drives in this game. More time for Lule. Chris Williams was bumped out, and that's why the flag as he stepped.
Williams is going to say he was pushed out.
Yeah, but
if he was pushed out, he can come in and catch it.
Back.
If he went out on his own, he can't.
So the officials confer, and are they going to allow this catch to stand or not?
Boy, and Hunter Stewart on that last play, Willie Jefferson trying an inside move, and Stewart just ended that pass rush.
The receiver, BC number 80, went out of bounds on himself, was still on the white line and jumped into the field and cut the football. By rule, this is an incomplete pass. It will be 3rd down.
Well, we'll see. Take a look at Chris Williams first. If he goes out by himself, you catch it right at the end, and he clearly came in from out of bounds. But watch the inside move by Willie Jefferson and watch what Hunter Stewart does. Tried an inside move and just shuts the door, passes him off to Vinecourt, and then looks outside. Nice pass pro by 67.
So Ty Long checks back in to attempt a 42-yarder. And so this a chance for points on 5 of the first 6 BC possessions of the night. Out of the Lule hold, and Ty Long has missed to the right. And is Duron Carter coming out? Maybe not. And he'll take a knee. And a wise call, although I think he'd like to have given it a shot. A miss by Long, and it's 19-0 BC.
No ice fishing in Vancouver over the last couple of weeks.
No. Great night. Big fireworks night here in the Lower Mainland. And a lot of people in the downtown area. Fireworks from the Lions here so far this evening. Kevin Glenn, Rob Begg can't hold on. Incomplete. Just 10 first downs so far for Saskatchewan.
And getting that hole, and that's what Chris Jones said at halftime about shooting themselves in the foot a little bit, whether it be a hands to the face call early on that stopped the drive. That's a chance to get in a manageable 2nd down situation, and that's a guy who just doesn't drop that very often.
Prior to that play, Saskatchewan time of possession 13-10. BC almost double that at 24-39. 2nd and 10. Josh Shirley on the rush. Glenn's going to take off, and he'll run for a first down and hit the deck. No runs in the last 2 games for Kevin Glenn, but that one moves the chains for Saskatchewan.
Yeah, it looked like as Kevin Glenn was getting ready to let this go, he had Shirley in his face. He steps up from that and then sees it open up to that backside. It was a zone defense, and Purifoy had bailed out there. There was no one over there to tackle him until after 1st down yardage.
Hits, they get it into the hands of Bakari Grant, and he can't get away. First catch for Grant, and Stephen Clark has been solid on the corner so far in his 2017 debut.
Stephen Clark out of Vanderbilt comes up and makes a great tackle. If a team likes to run this screen game, fly sweeps and your good tackling defense, you're going to be in second and long a bunch.
Reshuffling of the deck in that secondary with the loss of T.J. Lee, a dislocated elbow last week. Kevin Glenn throws the out, and nice catch there by Duron Carter. He steps out short of the first down at midfield.
Boy, you know, the good ones make it look easy, and this wasn't easy because I'm not sure Duron Carter saw this until the very last split second. I mean, he turns around, ball's already gone, he hasn't seen it yet, and then flashes his hands out and catches the back half of the football.
Boy, he's got that big catch radius, though, doesn't he? 6'5". And on third down, a hitch to Bakari Grant. Purifoy the big stick, but it is a first down.
Got up on the line quickly before the Lions could set defensively. Got it out there to Grant. Just a couple of yards necessary. He can go and pick that up. Two blockers in front of him, and a nice initial block by Rob Bagg on Ronnie Yell.
Bakari Grant came into the game 14th in receiving. He's been a very solid addition. Look out, Glenn hit as he throws, and Roosevelt can't make a highlight catch. Glenn slow to get up, he got stuck.
Yeah, Chandler Fenner. Chandler Fenner. They send the blitz. Glenn had Naaman Roosevelt, who's had a real quiet game so far, but right in the midsection. You won't see him. He's coming from this spot right here, and he's going to get Glenn just as he throws the football. Right in the midsection.
Lule got it late in the first half, and now Glenn, and we've seen Roosevelt make those catches. That would have been something. And an injured Rough Rider down. It's Caleb Hawley getting attention. We'll be right back.
Good pass rush always trumps good coverage. Watch Naaman Roosevelt on that last play get in behind his man. He is open down the field right now. If Kevin Glenn can get that ball up here, he's got a chance. And look what's happening to Glenn at the same time. He is about to get hit, and the pass is affected. Good pass rush always trumps coverage.
Second and 10, Glenn gets in the hands of Cameron Marshall, and he can't escape. Hanging in there was defensive end David Menard until help arrived.
Solomon Elamimian that time has got Kevin Glenn a little jumpy on that throw, even though he completed, he had to go underneath again, didn't look downfield. Solomon Elamimian sits there, watch the hesitation to allow the blocking scheme to set up, and then boom, he hits it. Now he's right in that eye line of Kevin Glenn.
6 punts and an interception on the 7th Rough Rider possessions in this game. Bartell, the end-over-end kick, fielded by Rainey inside the 5. And then Spencer Moore ends that return after the 48-yard Bartell punt. Another deep start for Travis Lule, but it hasn't stopped him today. Rivals today, former teammates, good friends, with more on Kevin Glenn and Travis Lule here against Farhan.
Chris, count Kevin Glenn among the growing list of supporters around the CFL that is thrilled at the resurgence of Travis Lule. The two men used to drive to practice every morning back in the 2014 season. Glenn was brought in to fill in for Lule for the first half of the year because Lule was recovering from his shoulder injury. Lule came back in week 11 and got re-injured in a game where there was a monsoon in Ottawa. It was a bad injury that required surgery. When it was done, the two men walked off the field together, and before they got into the locker room, Lule broke down and was very emotional. Glenn was there for him, and at the time, Glenn wasn't sure that Lule would ever play again. When he got his opportunity this season to get back into that starter's role, Glenn communicated with him very early. He was really happy for him. Obviously doesn't want him to have all that success tonight, but generally a big fan.
Yeah, the communication has continued through the season as recently as just just over a week ago. There's a pitch to Arsenault, surrounded, and Preston Butler stepped up with first contact.
Well, you mentioned off the top how important this game is for Saskatchewan for so many reasons. Getting a win on the road, getting a win against the West Division, getting a win against this BC Lion team they haven't beaten the last 2 years. If they're going to make their move in this game tonight, it's this down right here. They've got the field position advantage. They get the stop. They get the ball back with lots of time to put some points on the board in the third quarter. But it's right now they got to make it happen.
Chance to really get good field position. 2nd and 10. Away from the end zone, and the play doesn't get off. Like one of the BC receivers was offside.
Offside. BC number 17. Half the distance. Still 2nd down. Puck will be held to the snap.
Yeah, again, either good field position, or if Wally Buono, if they don't convert here, elects to take the safety, they get on the board and the ball back. Big down here on 2nd and long.
So Moore ahead of the snap. Second and 14 from the 4. 3 receivers to the near side. Lulay steps up, launches, Burnham, and he got it. How did he come down with that? He stole it from Eric Dargan.
Eric Dargan's been playing that safety spot pretty much all game long. And this looks
like foul, roughing the passer. Saskatchewan number 99. 15-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play. First down.
And a tack on and roughing the passer from A.C. Leonard after the throw on Lulay. But you're right, Brian Burnham just wrestles this away from Dargan. Here's the roughing the passer penalty. A.C. Leonard could have veered off of that hit, decided not to, and I thought this was a pick going the other way, but yeah, Brian Burnham had other ideas.
Biggest play of the year for Burnham, a 50-yarder, tack on 15. And suddenly it's the Lions in Saskatchewan territory, and Chris Rainey gets the edge. And down the sidelines, his momentum brings him out at the 23-yard line.
Oh, and the assist to Nick Moore. All the young receivers, the amateur. Watch Mwamba number 10. The young guys, it's more than just catching the ball. Sometimes you got to make a key block. And watch from the right of your screen. Here comes Nick Moore. Enoch Mwamba was going in there for the tackle, and pow, right there. Great block by 17 on Mwamba. Steps down, lowers his shoulder.
So that makes up for the offside earlier in the drive.
Wow, that gives Chris Rainey the corner.
18 for Rainey on the ground. Lulay now to throw. Has some time, but unable to hook up with Chris Williams, who was loose. And I think Lulay would like to have that back.
Oh, yeah. Happens.
By the way, 19th career 300-yard game for Travis Lulay, up to 311 on the day. His third 300-yard game of the season, and maybe on pace for his third 400-yard game of the season. And he's got Brian Burnham over 100 on the game with that 50-yard grab. Second and 10. Underneath it goes. Rainey again. And they don't bring him down the first time, but they will hold Chris Rainey short of the first down.
But big drive to get out of the shadow of your goalpost for Travis Lulay. They'll line up a field goal attempt here. But that was a key moment, I believe, in this football game. The Riders had a chance to get points, get the ball back, get great field position. On a 2nd and 14, Lulay finds Brian Burnham. Big play.
This will be a 24-yard attempt. 22-0 on the final play of the third quarter. Lions defense pitching a shutout. Travis Lulay over 300 in the game. And a big play to Brian Burnham to keep the Roughriders offense off the field.
It is a beautiful night for football.
They're on fire. This is the way it's supposed to be.
Bring them out, bring them out. The greenhouse ready to explode. Where would you rather be than watching some CFL football?
Time of possession, BC was second in the league, Saskatchewan third, but a big discrepancy in that department here this evening.
Yeah, you see the time of possession difference. Obviously, the Rider defense will fatigue in this fourth quarter. But again, I think the difference is the good teams, and the Riders are improving in so many ways, but they're just not quite there yet. There's lots of football to be played. We've seen some big comebacks, but the good teams know those situations, and that was one backed up in his own goal line. Travis Lulay hits Brian Burnham.
So a veteran team makes the big play. A young team still growing can't get the Lions off the field.
Yeah, and like I said, there's still a quarter to be played, and we've seen big comebacks in this football season. Not by any means giving the Lions the win.
Here's Kevin Glenn over the middle and drop bag and catch.
But good teams know when the special situation is, when it's that moment in the game that could be a real difference maker, and the Lions get 3 points out of that. Now, Kevin Glenn has attempted one pass past 20 yards out to Naaman Roosevelt when he took that big hit that was incomplete. He's going to have to push the ball to come back in this one.
Riders scored 18 fourth-quarter points against the Argos. And on second down, it's a catch for Grant and a first down for Saskatchewan.
Kari Grant put trips out there. That's a 3-receiver side and just a quick out.
Short drop in. He goes back to Grant again, who drops the football. Got stripped out of there. Picked up by Purifoy. And now Purifoy will get tackled. Kari Grant trying to strip the ball back. But a giveaway there by Bakari Grant, and the BC Lions defense has had all the answers here today. A takeaway here by Purifoy after the strip by Stephen Clark. Lions football when we come back. Lions defense getting noticed. Haven't surrendered a point. Second takeaway of the game.
And that's what it was. A takeaway. Stephen Clark, great strip.
And the 45, Jeremiah Johnson. Get a steady feed here. And he fumbled the ball. And Saskatchewan thinks they got it back. It is Rider football.
Well, this is an area they really needed to improve in as well, and they're starting to. That's a forced turnover. Last in the league coming in this week in that department, forcing turnovers. The Saskatchewan defense, as much as they've improved.
Enoch Mwamba ripping it out, and I believe Mike Edom comes up with it. They were clearly trying to tackle the football there to get it right back, and they do.
Watch Stephen Clark do it on the last play and went back out and said, hey, go after the football.
So reprieve for Bakari Grant. The Riders first down at the line, 49. Over by 1 set. Glenn steps up underneath, and they're giving it back again. Chandler Finner on the ricochet comes up with the football. Third takeaway for the defense.
You know, 2 sacks for the Lions tonight, but I don't see a comfortable Kevin Glenn in the pocket, and he put a lot of heat on that throw to Cameron Marshall. He wanted to go down the field, but he was hopping around in the pocket, felt the rush around him. Wow. There's some athleticism right there.
Grace. That ain't nothing but grace right there. That's God's grace right there. Oh, my God.
He's a guy that had such a good preseason. Wally Boito had to find a spot for him. Moved him into the strong side linebacker position, and he has been shining. Here's Chris Rainey, and the streak of turnovers ends.
I mentioned off the top with this BC Lion defense that, you know, with their secondary, that there are a lot of good players back there. They're just playing in different positions and trying to learn how to play together. They've done that tonight. Real nice job by Mark Washington's group in the back end to create some turnovers, and in the front 7 to make Kevin Glenn uncomfortable. Even if he's not being sacked, just not settling in to make those accurate intermediate to deeper throws.
Gave up 453 yards against Edmonton last week. They've held Saskatchewan to 215 so far. Shaq Murray Lawrence just brought back by the Lions, and he gets a carry here for a first down.
Now the Lions want to grind it out, grind the clock, keep moving the chains, and adding to that time of possession advantage.
See Antonio Johnson now on the offensive line for BC again after Kelvin Palmer. Kelvin Palmer's at right tackle, so Hunter Stewart may be out of the game. We're now getting it set. Cody Husband is out of the game, and that has caused a shift on the offensive line for BC.
So you got Palmer at right tackle, Fabian in at right guard still, and there's,
I think it's Hunter Stewart at center now. Viancourt center.
Yeah, Viancourt is sliding.
Stewart at guard and
over to center.
Antonio Johnson makes it 2 imports. As Cody Husband, who played all the games last year, has to watch right now. 2nd and 4. Good protection. Open receiver. Catch by Burnham. Having another day. Brian Burnham has his 5th catch of the game. And 21 yards.
Check out the time for Lule. 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. Check the backside. Nope. Going to Burnham over the middle. Burnham protects himself in case of a hit. That's the danger area, but lots of time to throw back there as this defense does start to fatigue.
3rd 100-yard game for Burnham on the season. 131 today at a 149-yard game.
And 4 clutch catches on 2nd down.
There's Lawrence again. A burst for Shaq Murray Lawrence. And gets down to the 2-yard line. I think he's not excited about getting a second chance here in BC.
Well, there's not much of a hole here this time, but he doesn't need much. At 5'8", 192, he can get little in the hole and then just jump through it. I mean, go ahead and run it. It's just a crease there, and look how it closes down relatively quickly, but not until after Shaq Murray Lawrence has gone through it.
And we're presuming Lawrence is in the game because of the added import on the offensive line. The Canadian running back is shining in his opportunity here. 3 carries, 27 yards on this series. Preston Butler shaken up. And let's check in with Farhan Lalji on his former high school star offensive lineman.
precautionary right now for Cody Husband. He was complaining of some vision issues as a result of taking a knee to the head earlier in the third quarter on a screen pass out on the left side, which Jeremiah Johnson caught. He played a couple more series after that, but again, had some vision problems, so they're just evaluating him right now. They're not using the concussion word quite yet, but they're just saying he's got some symptoms. Given the score, it's a convenient time to kind of hold him out and just make sure they have another look.
So the coach with an update on the former New Westminster Hayek, Cody Husband.
Let's get some points up.
Butler to the sidelines. First and goal, BC at the 2. Lions with both Lumbala and Murray Lawrence in the backfield. It'll be Shaq again. Touchdown. Shaq Murray Lawrence.
Good down block by Kelvin Palmer. Toughest thing for a front seven defensively when you get tired because you've been on the field so long is stopping the run.
Well, again, just brought back. He was cut after training camp, but has returned and showed his value on that drive, didn't he? 6 plays, 55 yards, the extra point from Ty Long. And it's a 29-0 lead for the BC Lions midway through the fourth quarter. Well, the lead expanded on that 6-play drive. Shaq Murray Lawrence, 4 carries, 29 yards, and a touchdown there behind that revamped offensive line. And the Roughriders, for the second straight time against Western opponents, finding out that they've still got work to do.
Watch the blocking for Shaq Murray Lawrence by Kelvin Palmer and fullback Rolly Lumbala. Here's the kick-out block this way, the down block from Kelvin Palmer, and the hole will open up. Watch how it develops. 46 on the kick-out. There's 68 on the nice down block. Backside sealed by Hunter Stewart on Willie Jefferson. And there goes Shaq Murray Lawrence. Virtually untouched from the 2-yard line.
And they've deserved the airtime tonight. Wide side throw over the head of Rob Begg. The BC Lions behind that offensive line have rushed for 167 yards, and that is the most surrendered by the Roughriders this season.
That is one of the great football coaches this game is Dan Durazio.
A guy who almost never leaves the BC Lions training facility. In fact, they've had security issues when the lights are on at 1:32 a.m. in the morning, and it's not an intruder, it's the offensive line coach going through his game film. Here's a deep shot from Rob Begg, and that falls incomplete. Anthony Thompson was closing, and stride for stride was Matt Buckner.
Well, nice blitz package from Mark Washington, defense coordinator for the Lions. Pressure on Glenn, some of the hits he took early in the third quarter, and he just hasn't looked comfortable since. Trying to get the ball out of his hand quickly, and he's either dumping it down, or that time he just kind of got rid of it, slung it out there, and Rob Begg really didn't have a chance.
7th punt on 10 possessions for Saskatchewan, 2 interceptions and a fumble. So 7 punts, 3 turnovers, and Rainey brought down at the 37-yard line. Midway through the fourth quarter, BC Lions in charge on home turf.
Well, Chris Williams' first game back after the ACL injury against Saskatchewan in week 16 last year. signed as a free agent with BC. Practiced the last 2 weeks, and in the first half, got going early. 3 catches for 75 yards. Now, all in the first half, all 3 for first downs. But Chris Williams is back.
Just another weapon, and now Alex Ross out of Coastal Carolina, guy who caught Wally Buono's eye in camp, gets a chance to finish up here. 3-time Georgia high school state champion. And in a preseason game, he had a little adversity early, kind of reminiscent to what happened to Mike Riley, and then he bounced back from an interception to lead a couple of scoring drives, and that caught the eye of Wally Buono, who saw his ability to be resilient. And here is Ross on his first throw, a little sidearm toss underneath, and it is caught. There's the fullback, Rolly Lumbala.
I think Lumbala got the first down. They're going to give him a spot that looks like maybe just short. No, they are moving the chains. Well, athleticism, the sidearm toss to Lumbala, makes a good catch.
We were wondering if Travis Lulay had gone out late in the first half, would Jonathan Jennings or Alex Ross come in? Ross listed as the backup, but nobody was quite sure with the game in the balance who would have been next. Now it's just valuable game experience for a newcomer to the league.
Well, and Danny Vandervoort's going to play a little bit of receiver here to the wide field, and Chris Williams going to take a rest now, and the backup BC Lions. Probably both teams going with some of the backups. We might see a quarterback change for Saskatchewan.
First and 10. Back in the hands of Lawrence. Pumps it outside. And another first down run. Around out there by Casey Rogers, and they have words. Calgary had 141 yards rushing against Saskatchewan. There's 17 more for Shaq Murray Lawrence.
Nice little break to bounce it outside.
So 187 yards as a team rushing. Season high for the Lions, who had 130 in game 1 against Edmonton. Haven't had 100 yards rushing since. And Ross,
yep,
confusion there, and he'll surge back ahead.
Either went the wrong way or the backs did.
I was going to say we won't be able to determine what Alex Ross can do as the number 3 guy, but what we do know is number 3 for Wally Buono has worked out pretty well over the last couple of decades.
Well, you think back to Wally Buono and his development of quarterbacks in Calgary before he even became a BC Lion. As their head coach and general manager.
Second 9. He'll take a shot and almost intercepted. Ed Geaney had a shot at the football.
Well, the rosters are too small to rest all the starting receivers, so that's why Nick Moore is still out there and he was playing wide out. But Chris Williams on the bench. Manny Arsenault getting a rest now. 2 straight 1,000-yard seasons. We mentioned Chris Williams in his 4 years in the CFL. Last year with the Ottawa Red Blacks, all over 1,000 yards. That is quite a group. Lots of weapons.
Hey, you did a good job with your eyes. Stand off as soon as you see him, and you see him get beat a little.
Yeah, Curry Jones with a little positive feedback for Alex Ross. But what a Fab 4 that is. And they're just scratching the surface. Williams 3 catches, 75. Ty Long's boot into the end zone, and it will roll through for a single. It's now 30 points for BC, and the 3rd time they've hit that mark this season. Brandon Bridge will come on. The truck suggesting I mentioned it might be a bridge too far for the Riders at this point, but I won't say that.
No, okay, I'll
leave that to the truck.
Attempted 4 passes so far this season. Has completed a couple of them.
But some valuable time for Bridge as Kevin Glenn's evening is over. 186 yards passing for Glenn, and a milestone that won't be quite as sweet, at least tonight. Bridge under duress, scrambles, throws, and bang! Nice catch.
How about the arm strength of Brandon Bridge and the catch, because this was a fastball on the run. It almost looked like he was just flipped, like a flick of the wrist out there, and it knocked Rob Bagg right over. Had some heat on it.
Bridge had a preseason game, went 20 for 26 for 201, and there was at least a murmur that there's a big hit on Carter, and flag comes down on that helmet hit. Micah Awe from the weak side linebacker spot with the hit that draws a flag, and Brendan Labatt has words with the rookie Awe.
Major foul. Spearing. Number 25, BC, 15-yard penalty, and first down.
But Ronnie Yell is number 25. He was not the spearing.
That was clearly
Awe, yeah. But you're right, not necessary, especially where the score is right now. It's, you know, backups want to make a mark and get on the game film.
First down, Bridge going through the reads, now out of the pocket, sailing it deep, and pop, run, Carter, touchdown. Breaks it down against Purifoy. And the shutout bid for the Lions is gone.
And Brandon Bridge taking full advantage of his opportunities. I mean, you know, the Riders aren't coming back and winning this game, but Brandon Bridge getting a chance to get out there and play, get some valuable reps, and another spectacular catch from Duron Carter. And again, I know Rider fans are right now watching saying this needed to happen in the first quarter a few times. Just throw it up there and let 89 go win the jump ball.
He did there. 4th touchdown of the year, 3rd in 2 games. And here's Quinn Van Gilswick, the Victoria product, who was looking forward to kicking at BC place, adding the extra point. We've hit the 3-minute warning. Ron Carter's hit the end zone. 30-7 BC. Can't believe we're already looking to week 8 of the year. The Eskimos stay unbeaten. Friday night football. It's Cody Fajardo and the Argos in Montreal. The Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who seem to find a way against Hamilton, looking to break out. These two teams in the return match on Sunday. Pretty good lineup for week 8.
Another great catch by Duron Carter.
Van Gilswick kicks it away. Chris Rainey ran into his own man, bounces off, pinballs around, and then gets tackled at the 34. Was an adventure before he gets brought down by Dargan.
You know, even Wally Buono, when asked about it with Duron Carter, he almost got mad at the media and said, well, what do you expect? I mean, the guy is a tremendous athlete. He sees the scrambling Brandon Bridge and then just goes deep. The coverage is just as tight. Now, I'd say the situation very different when it's, you know, a close game. It's not a close game. But Purifoy can't cover it any better, and another spectacular catch by Carter. And you know what's happening now in Riderville?
Already?
Brandon Bridge for starting quarterback, I'm sure.
Here's Shaq Murray-Lawrence again. Well, I was going to mention after the 201-yard preseason appearance in the first game, even Chris Jones indicated that maybe there was going to be a decision to be made on who would start opening day. It wasn't as good in the second game for Brandon Bridge of the preseason, and Kevin Glenn has had 5 straight impressive efforts until he ran into BC Lions defense today. Second and 7 for Alex Ross. Stands in, throws, and that one hop short of Nick Moore. So Ross to the sidelines. The Lions will punt, and Brandon Bridge will get a chance to put a little more gas on that fire you're trying to start.
Well, and I'm not, this is not me suggesting a quarterback change. I'm suggesting that all the fans in Saskatchewan right now are probably talking about that, and it's hitting Twitter any time now that there are a couple of good throws that Brandon Bridge should get a look.
Launched by Long. Comes the return. This is the newcomer, Christian Jones, out of Alabama.
And Kevin Glenn passing Ron Lancaster. And you've heard the stories too. Even the great Ron Lancaster was booed at times. Quarterback position, the #1
Objectionable
topic of discussion.
conduct. BC number 0. 10-yard penalty enforced from the end of the play and a first down. Saskatchewan.
Purifoy gets flagged.
#1 talking point in Saskatchewan always is the starting quarterback and his backup. And oftentimes the backup is the most popular. But I'm just going to ask you a question on Brandon Bridge. Just physically, who does he look like in the backup department in the Canadian Football League?
You're asking me a tough question now. You better answer that one.
James Franklin.
Okay. A little bigger than Franklin, no?
Yeah, a little bit. But I think they're about the same. I mean, they're the same height. They're tall, big arms.
Now you're starting even another. You got your radio plan for the week now, don't you? By the way, Brandon Bridge now 4 for 4 in relief of Kevin Glenn.
Yeah, and different circumstances, backups. Mark Washington not sending the same blitz package that he did against Kevin Glenn. All of those circumstances change everything here. But again, Brandon Bridge, he's got these reps and he's taking advantage of them.
Handed off inside. And that's Keenan LaFrance with a carry. Waiting to see Keenan LaFrance, who was on the 6th game to start the season. Last week made his first appearance in Rider green and white.
Well, Chris, I agree with you on a lot of these newcomers, but Riders got to start accumulating some wins to get in the fight in the West.
There's an open Naaman Roosevelt, and it's going to be 2 touchdown passes for Brandon Bridge, stoking the fire. 45-yard touchdown pass.
Again, he gets it there, and this time he shows a little maturity because he flips his shoulders from the field to draw the defense that direction and then goes back to Roosevelt. Gets it there quickly.
5 for 5, 113 yards, 2 touchdown passes in the game.
Hey, that's what they talking about that on the panel right now. Like, yeah, Kevin Glenn. Kevin Glenn's getting old.
Kevin knows.
There's a quarterback controversy right now.
We got it, Kevin.
That's exactly what they're saying. You see how he keep following me?
I like the way.
And that's why he's still in the league 17 years later. Little fade to Carter. Interference down on Ronnie Yell.
Yep.
Pass interference. BC, number 25. The fall occurred in goal. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line and will retry.
Yeah, and let me be clear one more time. Glenn Suter is not recommending a quarterback change. just for the record. But how good was that, Kevin? Understands the situation. He can see where they're at, but he knows what's going on.
Well, now Bridge trying to sneak for the 2 points. Did he get in? Not sure.
Alway, that's another penalty for Alway. It should be.
Always drawing a crowd, and a flag on the play. By the way, Brandon Bridge, with his first 2 touchdown passes as a Saskatchewan Roughrider, threw a pair of touchdown passes when a member of the Montreal Alouettes. But these the first 2 in green and white.
Offside. BC. The ball will be left on the 1-yard line again, and we'll retry.
So another try for Bridge. Somebody lining up inside the 1-yard line. They're going to pitch it out. Here's Steven LaFrance. He's got the 2. And it's now 30-15. And these might be valuable points in the season series.
Sure, they play
if
again
the
next week.
Roughriders,
Yep.
just 2 games. The Roughriders, if they won by 16 next week, would get the tie break. So these points are not necessarily inconsequential.
Naaman Roosevelt, quiet night tonight against the BC Lions. This is his touchdown and nice run after the catch.
And they're down by 15 with 1:21 to go.
This is my friend KG. He's the man. He's the man.
Which is lots of time if you're a Winnipeg Blue Bomber, Doug.
Yeah, how about that? They did it again. Well, they'll go onside kick again. And you're right, points matter against your own division especially, and you're looking at the season series.
Shit.
I'm sure Wally Wano probably reminded his guys of that as well.
So let's see what Craig Dickinson draws up here. There's Tyler Crapina on the 6 game, would normally handle this duty. See Quinn Van Gilswick and how adept he is. Number 26 pick last year in the draft out of UBC. Here we go. Up for grabs. And Roosevelt bats it out. Was Roosevelt out of bounds?
Well, as long as he was in the air when he batted it out, he's okay.
Let's see, Andre Proulx directing traffic down there. What's he got?
Take another look. Does he get up? It bounces inbounds there. He's in the air when he touches it.
Yep, the ball, I thought the ball might have hit the white line, but it didn't.
And did his foot hit the white line when he jumped? Because if he's out of bounds when he jumped, it's BC ball.
A lot of traffic in front of the bench to block it, but this may be the best view.
Illegal kickoff. Saskatchewan. The ball hit the ground, went in the air. Saskatchewan touched the football, and the football went out of bounds, and the Saskatchewan player landed out of bounds. Therefore, it is an illegal kickoff. First down, BC.
So Roosevelt out of bounds, gives the football back to the Lions. And back into the hands of Shaq Murray-Lawrence to the 45. The Nissan Titan player of the game is brought to you by the Nissan Titan, official vehicle of the CFL.
Well, he went 19 of 28. At one point was on pace in the first quarter for a 600-yard game, but ended up with 338 and a touchdown. Travis Lulay spread the ball around. He got Brian Burnham involved. He had over 100 yards. This was a big, big play right at the end of the third quarter. Got him out of trouble, and they ended up with a field goal there and took control.
Ross calling quarterback draw and running for a first down. Just to confirm on that kickoff, either the ball or the player who touches it last has to end up back in bounds, and neither happened. That's why it's ruled an illegal kickoff.
Yeah, and I saw another angle while we were showing the play live, and that ball may have bounced on the white stripe as well.
The last two running plays for BC, they've gone over 200 yards rushing in the game from our ace statistician David Moyer. These two teams will go back at it next week. But a response game for Wally Buono's team. He was not happy with the performance in Edmonton.
No question. And defensively, their juggled secondary came through with a big game. They'll play in Saskatchewan next week, but for the Riders, it's a tough Western run coming up. They've got BC again next week. Then they go to Edmonton. And then, of course, it's the Labor Day back-to-backs against the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
Former Lion Issa Marabere shaken up on the last play.
If they're going to get in the playoff fight, it's the next 4 weeks.
And now the Lions will just run it out here after that latest first down. BC with 27 first downs, 537 net yards, and a convincing performance despite the late pair of Brandon Bridge tossed touchdowns for Saskatchewan. There'll be 7 straight wins for the Lions against the Riders. And Chris Williams has just made BC a little bit better.
Well, I'll take it further. A lot better. He's opening things up. You can see it, and he looks great.
Lions 5-2. Riders fall to 2-4 in the first half of back-to-back meetings between these two Western rivals. Lions trying to keep pace with the hot Edmonton Eskimos and Calgary Stampeders. And the Riders lose a little touch with the leaders in that race. Final score 30-15. So long from BC Place Stadium. Sports Center is now.
What's up, Canada? Welcome inside Sports Center. Hope you enjoyed the game. Well, it was kind of like a game.
Some people liked the game, others
did not. Of course, a lot of Lion fans. That was a beatdown. The Riders kind of tried to make it interesting. On paper, it's going to look it was closer than it was, but that was all BC, Laura.
Well, and that was the thing. The Riders' offense coming to life against the Argos last week. That big fourth quarter, and then just kind of fizzled here against the Lions, and some important points up for grabs. That West Division, ultra competitive this year. But good news for the Lions. Chris Williams back from a torn ACL, making his BC debut. And he was showing off that speed that's made him a 4-time East Division All-Star in the first quarter. Williams, 3 catches for 75 yards in the first half alone. Now the Lions driving again here in the second quarter. Travis Lulay to a wide-open Brian Burnham for the touchdown. And how does Burnham get so wide open? Well, Cresden Butler in coverage doesn't see the... That's never a good thing. Down he goes. Now, Duron Carter, you'll remember, had that spectacular one-handed catch last week. This time, Anthony Thompson with the interception. Carter held to just 2 catches in the first half. Now, still before the break, Lulay taken down by Willie Jefferson. Now on the play, Lulay gets a helmet to the ribs. That hurts. Gets the wind knocked out of him. He would be okay. He did not miss a series. And the Lions up 18-0 at the half. Let's go to the third. Here come the Riders. Kevin Glenn finds Cameron Marshall. And with that, Glenn passes Ron Lancaster for 6 on the CFL's all-time career passing yards list. Then late in the quarter, the Lions pin deep.
3 receivers to the near side. Lulay steps up, launches, Burnham, and he got it. How did he come down with that? He stole it from Eric Dargan.
Burnham at it again. Gets up and gets it. Takes it away from Eric Dargan. What a grab. Let's move on to the fourth quarter. The Riders down 22-0 now when Glenn with his second interception of the game. This one to Chandler Fenner. And what's nicer, the interception or the breakdancing? What do you think?
I like that, the dance.
Dance is good.
Yes.
Agreed. Glenn was pulled after the pick late in the fourth. Mississauga, Ontario's Brandon Bridge in at quarterback. He throws it up for Carter. And he comes down with it. The catches these guys are making in the CFL this season. This one, though, comes in a losing effort for the Riders. 30-15 ended up being the final. So the Lions have now won 7 consecutive meetings against the Riders, while Lule improves to an outstanding 21-4 for his career at BC Place. Now, these two teams will square off again in a Week 8 rematch Sunday in Regina. But right now, Brian Burnham, another big game, and here he is with our Farhan Lalji.
Brian, pretty good performance by the offense. You jumped out to a 30-0 lead. What was working tonight?
We were just finding the soft spots in their zone. And I think the biggest thing was our offensive line was protecting Lule. He got hit a few too many times tonight, but overall the offensive line did a great job, and hats off to them.
What about your catch over the middle, the deep one down from deep in your own end? It could have been a turning point in the game, but another highlight reel catch.
Just trying to take advantage of every opportunity I get, especially with Chris Williams back in the lineup. You're not going to get 10 targets a game. So when that ball's in the air, I got to try to make the most of it.
You watch Duron down the sideline trying to one-up you. Whose was better? We'll ask you again.
Like Duron said about last week, they're both great in their own way. So, he's a great receiver, and, hats off to him, too.
What about just kind of setting the tone here for a 2-game series and going back there?
Yeah, we've played a great game for about 90% there, and those last 3 minutes got away from us a little bit. So next week we got to play a full game, a full 4 quarters, and we'll get it done.
Thanks for this.
All right, thank you guys.
Burnham led the way with his third 100-yard receiving effort of the season and hauled in his third touchdown of the season. The Lions' stellar receiving corps getting it done against the Riders, while Chris Williams, no rest on him in his Lions debut, 75 yards on just 3 receptions. With plenty more, let's say hello to Rod and company.
Another big win for the BC Lions and another new weapon to help them get it done. Here's the panel, Milt Stegall and Matt Dunnigan. We talked before this game about Chris Williams, who was making his debut with the Lions after the last couple of years. The Ottawa Red Blacks missed a lot of time with a torn ACL. Well, they got to Chris Williams fairly early in this game, and it wasn't just his contribution with 3 catches, 75 yards, but it seemed to help set the tone for the entire BC offense.
And yeah, there was some concern about how Chris Williams would come out after suffering that ACL injury last year. And no, there was concern. After ACL injury, people were like, well, can he come back? Will he still have the speed? Will he still have the quickness? Will he still have the explosiveness? And he had it right away. And I love the fact that they came to him right away. Their first offensive play, they allowed Chris Williams to come out and do what he does best. And that's take guys, act like they're going deep, and break it out. And don't get me wrong, Javon Johnson is good, but not many DBs can cover Chris Williams one-on-one. And then they allow him to do what they brought him for, and that's going deep. Chris Williams, he's going to run by anybody. I don't care if you're deep, if you're short. This is what they have him for. He made a great play, and, man, it just opened it up for everyone. Burnham had a great game. Arsenault had a great game. Nick Moore, Jeremiah Johnson, all those guys benefited off of Chris Williams being on the field.
Changes the way you have to defend a receiver like that. You got to ease the linebackers out a little bit more, maybe the safety over the top a little bit. Now it's going to open up everything for Arsenault, for Burnham, for the rest of the boys, and certainly the running game and the weapons they have with Jeremiah Johnson and Shaq was absolutely phenomenal in tonight's in spelling Jeremiah. So it balances things out. And as a defense, you really can't.
Right.
You're caught. You're caught in a tough spot because they got too many weapons out there. And we talked about it before. Is Saskatchewan's receiving corps or BC Lions receiving corps the best? Milt, you said the BC Lions.
Yes.
And right now they're doing it. They're producing from week to week, and I gotta agree with you. With the addition of Chris Williams, I think they've taken that.
Well, you talked about Saskatchewan's receiving corps. Let's just expand that to their offense in general. That struggled again. Put 38 up in the Argos last week. Week before, struggled in Calgary. Shutout in the first half. 10 points overall. So Kevin Glenn, he's seen this before. Kevin's been around a while. Now, we weren't going there, but I guess one of our cameras was going there. So
and maybe he's feeling the heat.
Maybe sensing from the struggles of the offense tonight. This is what he had to say on the sideline.
Hey, they talking about that on the panel right now. Like, Kevin Glenn's getting old. There's a quarterback controversy right now.
We got it, Kevin.
He knows what they're saying. You see how he keep following me?
I swear, it wasn't my idea. I didn't send the camera out to Fox.
Originally, we weren't going to talk about it.
No. But he teed it up for us, so why not? He's right on both accounts. He is getting old, and there is a quarterback controversy.
Kevin's been old. He's been old.
Suits mentioned it. Suits mentioned it on air, and I think in jest. But you know that there are some Rider fans that think that Brandon Bridge should get an opportunity.
Well, it's 6 for 6, 2 touchdown passes, but the game was already over.
What do we call that? We call
points after beatdown or yards after beatdown.
If they think they can put Brandon Bridge and he can do better than Kevin Glenn right now, there's a problem. And I understand that Kevin struggled today. Brandon Bridge got in there and
most
did some great
quarterbacks would have
plays,
struggled today the way the BC Lions defense is flying
Kevin Glenn
around.
should be the starting quarterback for the
But I think all quarterbacks would have struggled against the way BC Lions were playing football tonight.
Yeah. Right.
And they made a good quarterback look very average. And then in the Yab situation or a Pab situation, Brandon Bridge went out there and used his athletic ability and took advantage.
You said it. BC Lions, we talked about their offense. Their defense was absolutely outstanding, pitching a shutout for a while. Bottom line for Saskatchewan, they lost. Every other team in the West won in Week 7.